Welcome back, everyone. So today's another day, another Python lesson. I don't know where we are at. We covered week 1, week 2, week 3. I think we are at week 4. So today, what are we going to learn? We will talk about loops. Maybe we may spend a few time to just remind you the list, but we most of the time spend learning loops and then functions, tuples, set, and dictionary. If we have some time left after this, you may work on group exercise, and the group exercise can be found here, I think, questions. And then I arranged them like this. So you go to the lists and you discuss about this list, how to solve. Yeah, actually last time we gave some examples. Most of the questions can be solved based on the examples we've discussed in the lesson or in the class. Okay, so let's open the VS Code. As you can see, I don't have anything. I will open our project, that's Python Spring 2021. And week 1, week 2, week 3, right away I want to create a week 4. Yes, and maybe I just list revision py. Okay, so let's revise the list. What's the list? Tell me, guys. What's the list?
List is it's a collection of things in an ordered manner.
Yes, list is a collection of data of different types in an ordered manner or way. Okay, so how do we create a list? Okay, variable name, and we can say list. This is the list. This is how you create a list. So let's see how many elements or items do we have in this list? Should be 0, right? Uh, I, no. Let's, as you can see, empty list. Yeah, so empty list, it doesn't have anything. Or we can just create like this with 2 square brackets and you get the same thing. And even sometimes we can change, for instance, Python list. If I just write something like this, Python, last time we saw this actually, it gave us a list of the characters inside in the Python string. Have you seen? It gives you something like that. And just we can also create just numbers and with just values 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe we may be interested in countries. We love countries in this, and Finland, of course, and then Sweden. If you read 30 days of Python, you may see these countries maybe 100 times, if not 1 million times. Oh, not million times anyway. Okay, so
I have a question.
yes.
How do you make a list with like the Python, but if so that you have only one item and it's the text Python? How do you make that?
Okay.
Is it like, do you add list
Okay.
before square or not?
Yeah, I will come to that. Then, okay. Now you are asking me the previous question is the way I did Python, right?
Yeah.
So you are a bit puzzled why we get that list from this, right?
Yeah, and like because now it also looks like it's a list that has only one item, and the item is text Python, but it's not. It
Yeah,
is making a
yeah.
list of.
Okay, great. Yes, yes. Okay. Actually, if you put it like this, you are creating an empty list. This. But
Mhm.
if you pass something, it change this to items, entities, values. So this is just I didn't. So actually, this is a way to create a list. So now it doesn't have anything, empty, empty list, this empty list. But this one actually characters. This gives me characters. Maybe sometimes you may be interested to have A, B, C, D, E, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Because you may use this at some point to solve some problem. The reason why I'm writing this long, because it has some purpose. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Actually, this gives us the English alphanumeric characters, lowercase, uppercase, and the numbers. And at some point, we may need this to create random I can call that alphanumeric characters. So if I print this, print, what's the length of this? I want you without using any method. What's the length of this?
62. 62.
62. Yeah, it should be 26 plus 26, 52 plus 10. Yeah, 62. Yeah, great. So let's run this. As you can see now, I have an array of this. So you pass some string and actually it changes to a list sometimes, but actually a string by itself, sometimes it behave letters, just this, some text like this. This by itself actually behaves like a list. We can access it by index. So sometimes even we don't have to create a list. I can target each value just by index. Okay. So we can create like this. If I want to get one of the value, how do I I can access them by? Tell me. By index. The index is 0, right? Yeah. For instance, numbers. If I say 0, what's the value? I don't hear anyone. I think you guys. If I say 0, I get 1. To access this, it should be 1 because the index starts from 0. Yeah. And if I want to get the last one, I can use the last index, or I can use just negative indexing from this side. Okay, but how about slicing? If I want to slice out 2 and 3, I can say I go from up to 0, 1, the starting, and then 0, 1, 2. it doesn't include the actually 0, 1, and 2. Actually, it should be 3. Let's see the result. Because if we don't see the result, as you can see, we managed to slice out 2 and 3. And then we learned also the different methods like append, extend, and also we managed to merge 2 lists, for instance, num1, nums1, it could be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and maybe you may have nums 2 and 4, 5, 6. It's so num3. You can just add the first one plus the second one, and you get the what is called a mixture or the union of this. It's not a union actually. We just have the concatenation of 2. So let's see, post print nums 3. Yeah, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To add something, you just nums 1. For instance, if I want to add or append, you can just append a value on this. For instance, I can append maybe -3 and print the nums 1, because that's how you see the value. As you can see, -3 is added. But if I want to add more values, I may use the extend, and then it's as a 4, maybe I can say 0, -1, and -2. And now if I, as you can see, some items have been added. Yeah, it's like that. So just to remind you a bit, we don't have to go all over again. List by itself is a wide topic. So just let's start today's lesson, the beautiful loop. I love loops, BY. Okay, what is loop and why you need it? What's loop?
Loop is an iteration process to accomplish some tasks.
Yes, a loop is actually it is a process to solve some repetitive task. By nature, something which has some repetitiveness. Maybe I want you to print out this message, hello world. I want you to print this 1,000 times before the break. Please print this 1,000 times before the break. Can you do it? And I want you also to have a comma. And maybe here, because I have to make it difficult and it will be hard for you to print it. And every time you have to say the first one, the second one, hello world 1, hello world 2, and then the last should be hello world 1,000. So as you can see, this is boring task and the repetitive task. It doesn't need any mental processing power whatsoever. It's just repetition, right? So the role of a loop is actually to solve something like this. So this is how you write a loop. You need the 4 keyword, and then iterator. Most of the time we say I in range some number, for instance 10. 10 is too large, let's just say 3. Okay, and then we need a colon here, and then pass. By the way, if you don't have anything to write for the time being, like you'd write pass. That means just to make this work, but I have something, print anything here. So this print anything will be executed how many times? Actually 0, 1, 2, 3 times. I will show you. As you can see, it has been printed out 3 times. Okay, what is this I? Let's print I itself also. As you can see, actually I is an iterator. So the iterator, the first time it was 0, and then 1, 2. So what is this range? Actually, what do we create when we say range something? Let's see, range. I should have mentioned here range actually. Let's go back in time and say something more about list, because I told you to create a list is actually either you can create a list like this, or maybe you can create like this. This is a way to create an empty list. But guys, there's also another best way to create a list. How do you create it? For instance, I can say numbers, and then I can create using range. So actually now I'm trying to create numbers from 0 to 9. Let's print it out. Numbers. By the way, this gives me some such kind of object. It's not going to be a list. Have you seen? It is a range. That means here we stored numbers from 0 to 10, but it doesn't include 10. So it's 0 up to. So to get this as in a list, we have to put it in the list. Then now, actually, from 0 to 9. So this is a very cheap way of creating a list. So especially numbers. Now, if I do this, I will get from 0 to 99 so fast. Okay, if you remember, by default, yeah, let's make it smaller. By default, it starts from 0, so you don't have to put the starting point. But let me just show you. It takes 3 arguments: the starting, the start, and then the stop, and then actually the step. So it takes how many arguments? 3 arguments. The start by default it is 0. The stop you decide, maybe 100 times or maybe 5 times. Let's see 5 times. The step, by default it's 1, but we can change it. Okay, let's see. What do you expect from this? 0 to 4. Okay, maybe how about if I change the step? So if I change the step, it's going to be 0, 2, and 4. 0, 2, and 4. So I can, actually we can change. Okay, how about if I want to get even numbers from 0 to 100? So 0 is the first. If you add 0 to every time, then it's going to be even, as you can see. Okay, then if we are interested to get only odd numbers, we can actually change the starting from 1, and then it will be odd numbers. Very, very smart way of creating odd numbers and even numbers. So instead I can odds. These are the odds. I'm not in favor of odd numbers. I prefer evens. Anyway, that's personal preference. So 0. So as you can see, if I stored all the even numbers here and all the all the odd numbers here and all the even numbers here. I hope now you understood the purpose of this range. It creates a list for you. Yeah. So this means range 3 means it's from 0 to 2, 0, 1, and 2. Let's run this one. Have you seen 0 to 1? Now the plan was to print hello world how many times? 1,000 times, but yeah, I can do it that times, but don't put it's too much. It's 10 is enough, okay? So, and every time I want to print the number, and I change this to hello world, or maybe greetings from Asadena. Oh yeah, that's very, yeah. Good. So now this will print. So at least I want to say how many times I want to start from 1 and 1 from this. It means starting from 1 to 10 because it doesn't. Yeah, why is the difference? Let me show you. If I just put something like this and let's print this out, it goes from, it starts from 0 and it stops at 9, but we don't, it doesn't make sense for people who doesn't know programming starting from 0. So let's start from 1, right? And now let me show you again, but it didn't include tens because it doesn't include the last value. So we should make this to 11. Now I think we've achieved what we want. Yes, greeting from Asavine. How many times? 10 times. How many students do I have now? At least 8. Yes, all the students have been greeted. Yes, is it clear here, guys? I have to have a pause for a question. No, is it clear?
Yes, I think it's quite clear. The most that I'm wondering is the I. I mean, how does that work? I mean,
okay, yeah. Yeah, I can come to that. Some of the guys might come from other programming language, and in other programming language, usually we write for let I is equal to 0, I less than or equal to some length, and then I plus plus and something like this. For instance, JavaScript console or Java, it has some similarity. Actually, do you know, guys, sequence is like a sequence of something. List is a sequence by itself, okay? This is a sequence. This string also a sequence. So the way it works actually, forget about this. For number, yeah, forget this also. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it clear, guys? You know this. What is it? Tell me, guys, what did I write? A list. Yeah. So for number in numbers, print one of the number each time. Have you seen? And all now let's do. As you can see, we have printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about the countries? So we have the countries somewhere. I can bring those countries. Where are they? And even when you do this, like whenever you do the loop, you should have this, the iterator should be somehow for country in countries, print one of the country. So if you see now, I will manage to print. While I am printing, actually, I can do any kind of operation, for instance, to upper, and then I will have this something. So actually, this is an iterator which allows you to access each value of the sequence or the array. Is that clear, guys? Okay, then how does it work when it comes to for I? Most of the time that means integer in range 10. What do you have here now? Actually, I just put it here. Let nums num, I can call it num in the nums print the num. What do you think this expression, the difference between this, I will again write this, remove this one, I must and what's the difference between this and this? Yeah. Nothing, no difference. For this one, I just created the list here and then I brought it here. Yeah, for a beginners, actually writing like this, make it so easy because beginners can't see it from, but this is a bit compact, right? So we have the list, we created the list, and then we iterate the list. But here, actually, the list is created here. From the list, we are getting every integer. The reason why actually this is all I, the reason why we call it I, it's going to be integer. The range only creates integer. It could be positive or negative. It doesn't create like floats, okay? So that's why.
Basically, I is like whatever the string or name or anything which is given by the like user indicates the each element of the list.
Yes.
It could be anything.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It could be K, it could be J, whatever. But the reason why we call this I, because it refers to integer, the reason why everything we create from this, I mean, it used to, like, it's an integer anyway, if it's a range. But as you can see, if I am iterating countries, I called them country because it makes sense. But still, you can call it I if you want. Yeah. And so it doesn't matter. How is the loop, guys?
One question.
Yes.
Yeah, one question from the, so when you use the range in the loop, and so what if you create a list from the range? I mean, because range is only, it's not a list before you turn it to be a list, but how does the loop understand?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I understand your question. For instance, if I print nums, here I get a kind of an object, right? From here, I will show you. This is what I get. So actually, this is it. It looks like it's just a kind of an object which has from 0 to 10, but this is actually a sequence which can be understood by the for loop. So the for loop understand this is actually a list So you don't have to change it to something like this. Yeah. So the for loop is aware of that. So you don't have to do this stage, the least something. That's just extra step. If you do it, it's okay, but don't do that. So this means it's already a range which is 0 to 10, and the step is 1. So we have here a list of numbers from 0 to 9. Any question? Yeah. Then what can we do with this? Yeah. What is this? For instance, if you see, if I ask you to add the number of the sum of even numbers from 0 to 100, do it yourself. Now I will give you 5 minutes to solve this. The question: what is the sum of all the numbers from, no, what's the sum of all numbers? Yes, good. What's the sum of all numbers from 0 to 100? Another question. What is, it doesn't matter if I write like this, right? What is the sum of all even numbers from 0 to 100? What is the sum of all odds from 0 to 100? I hope you tried this. So let's do it together. Did you try it, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
How did it go? What's the result for this? Let's see if you have some answer.
50-50.
50-50. How about this one? How about this one? You didn't do?
25-50.
5?
2550.
2550. How about this one? And someone is saying that the first one is 4950. And how about this one?
2500.
2500. Okay. Great. Let's do. Okay. So as I told you, we can create a first sum of. I can do for num or I in range 0 to 101, because, and the step will be, so I want to sum all of them. So even I don't need the initial and the step. By default, it's 0. So, and you do just print 1. I will just show you step by step. If I print this, I will print out from 0 to 100. So, but now it's not all about printing them out. We have to collect them. Total, sum, evens total, or evens sum. Even sum, let's start from 0, you know. We don't have any value. Then I come here, evens sum is equal to evens sum plus vi. That means I am adding this now and then and storing it again. So at the first place, what's the value of this? Here, 0. 0 plus 0, 0. It will be stored in here. And the second time, now we have 1. What we have here, 0 plus 1, 1. We stored 1. The second time, we have 2. 1 plus 2, 3. Then this iteration will go from 0 to 100. Then we don't have to print this, but just to see the value, you may see what's happening actually. Evens and the VI. Let me show you. You can see what's happening. It was first we have 0 because it's 0, and then 0 plus 0, that's just 0. And then 0 plus 1, 1. Then we stored 1. 1 plus, actually, so wait, 0 and 0, it's 0. And then the next one, 0 plus 1, it's 1. And then it comes, okay, I think it's so confusing for me. We can put it the other way here and it will be so easy. This is the iterator. Yes. And even we can give it I, then it will not be confusing for you to look at. As you can see, the I is 0 and the even is 0 here. I mean, the sum is 0. Then we summed this up and it is 0. And then the second time we have here 0, 0 plus 1, and we summed it up and it's 1. 1 plus 2, 3. Yeah, it goes like that. And 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 4, 10. 10 plus 5, 15. So this iteration will go up to the end, and then we will get 550. So we don't have to print out every time. So our code should look like something like this. I'm sorry. What keyboard am I using? Whatever. The sum of all events, no, all numbers. Yes. Yeah, we got this. Good. Then to change it to sum of, actually I made a mistake. It's not sum of events. This, sorry for saying it's the wrong name. We can say sum of all numbers. Yeah. Because I thought we sum of all. Yeah, sometimes I just give a variable name which makes sense for me. but it looks a bit. Then just we don't have to rewrite all over again, but we can modify this. Let's say evens sum. And I told you can start from 0, and if you increment by 2 every time, you get only the evens, and you change these variables and you get the same thing. And of course you change this and you change the tab here, the sum of all evens. And then for odds, you just copy this and instead start from 1 and change, instead of evens, I can just change this to odds. And then the sum of all odds. Yeah, and then you just print, as you can see, the sum of all numbers is this one and this one. Is there any? What's the difference between this? Seems the same. Yeah, we didn't change this value. Why didn't? Odds. Yeah, the sum of all odds is actually 200, 2,500 or 2,500. Okay, great. So this is a lead, some simple application. But what about if I ask you another challenge? You don't have to do it now, but it's just I want you to develop a simple script that generate a unique user ID. And I think I would go for multi-line comment. Okay, the unique ID may have the length of, sorry, the unique ID is 24, and it may have numbers, lower case and upper case characters only. Yeah. So how do you develop this? I will just leave this for you. Great, let's move on. Actually, this for loop, it can also add some kind of else in range up to 6. Print I forgot to write I here. And then else print something. We can also print the I here. Actually, after the end of the loop, this will be executed. So this, if you want to execute after the end of the loop, you can use else if you have something to do with the, let's see. So it goes from 0 to 5 by the end, that is at the 5th iteration, something, or we can say this is at the end of the iteration. You may do this. This is the end of the iteration. And now let's talk about break and continue. Break and continue. You know, a loop is a very expensive process because if you have a very big list, maybe I can go to, okay, let's make it practical, you know. Let's go to 30 days of Python, and you can go to the data folder And if you go to countries, I made very good list of countries there, and I can use this. Have you seen this? Copy, and we can save it here. I call it countries. Maybe because you don't know how to import, we will talk about that, but now I just want to just put it here. Okay, we don't need the semicolon, but I can just, have you seen? We have a countries list here. Nice list of countries. But I will come to that later. So for I in range up to 6, we know that this print actually from 0 to 5, right? But we can actually, what is this? Oh, I forgot to, yeah. Let's see, as you can see, 0 to 5, great. But actually we can skip if it's even, if it's, if it's even or odd, for instance, if, how do we check if something is even or odd? If i's
Modulus 2.
modulus 2 0. I will explain this. This means if you divide something by 2 and if the remainder is 0, that means divisible. If something is divisible, there's nothing that remains, no remainder. If there's no remainder, it's divisible. So it's even. Only even numbers can be divided by 2. Yeah? Okay, great. So now continue. That means, and let's do print. And what do we get from this? I will explain to you. As you can see, 1, 3, 5, whenever it reaches the even numbers, what is it doing? If you see, it's escaping actually. Have you seen it?
Yes.
It's escaping. So we used the keyword continue to skip, and we will use break to terminate, or stop the iteration process. Okay, now we can use the same loop. For instance, I can say if the value is actually 3, break. Let's see. So 0, 1, 2, because we found 2, it broke there. So we can stop at when we reach something. If you put this before the condition, 3 will be printed and it will break. So have you seen the difference? Because the condition, the printing is before we check. I think this is all about for loop. Let's talk about while loop, and we will finish. We will have a break. While loop. While loop is also one of the loop. So it just, for instance, you can say to count is equal to 0, while the count is less than 6, print count. And of course, we should increment the count every time, and by making like this. Every time, what's the value of the count now? Tell me, guys. Oh, participation. So easy. Question 0. I just 0. And then 0 will be printed out. And the value of count will be incremented by 1. The next time, then what will be the value of count now? 1. And then it goes up to 6. But when it reaches 6, this condition will be false and it doesn't execute this part. Let's see. So now, as you can see, we managed to print this. What is this? Okay, that the good print. This is the while loop part, because sometimes if you just print, you never know from where it's coming. This is the while loop part. I think my while loop is not. Oh yes, actually it should be less than, because it was false. Yeah, now it should work. As you can see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when it reaches 5, it printed out and then it comes, it's a 6. When it reaches 6, it will be false and it doesn't print out. So it's another way of doing the same thing with a for loop. Most of the time you use for loop. So rarely you may use for while loop, but it's also good to understand how it works. You have to have initialization, you have to have the condition, and you have to have the increment. How do we reverse this? Reverse from 5 to 0. Let's do a reverse. Okay, we should start from 5, for instance, or 6. While count is greater than 0, we can print, but I can put it there, or equal to 0. And then instead we do the decrement operation like this. And now actually we do from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. But I didn't show you how can we do the same thing with a for loop. For I in range, who can help me to do the same thing? We can reverse. We can start from 5 and the stopping will be 0.
-1.
And then we do -1. And then print I. As you can see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I have a question.
So as you can see, the last value didn't include, so we have to go to up to -1 to include 0. Yes, question.
Does it on row 279 you have the count?
Yes.
Yeah, and what happened? And above that is the print.
This
what happens if or it doesn't matter if you put that print below the count?
Okay. It doesn't matter, but you will miss the first 5. The first 5. Now, for what's the value of count? Tell me now before the operation. 5, right? So I have to get the initial, and then after I printed out, I have to decrement. So if you put it here, the value you get will be actually 4, because I am printing it out after decrement, as you can see. Have you seen this? Decrement by 1 and put it here and print it out. So you can see the value. Let's taste. Have you seen where it started? Have you noticed?
Mm.
But if you just move this up, it will start from 5. Now it starts from 5. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's all about, sometimes this kind of thing might not come naturally, so you may try it. How does it look when I put it down? And you have to tweak it, you know, by yourself. And after a couple of times, it will be second nature. Yes, it's like thinking in English or Finnish or in a language you are very familiar. So to make that, you have to do some practice. So let's have the first break, and after 10 minutes we will be back to the lesson, and most probably we head to function. Let's see you soon. Welcome back, everybody. So let's just do some more loop using conditions. We have the countries list at the top, and let's print this out. Yeah, you know, most of the time what you should do first is just print something or what you have. Just make print your base frame. It helps you out. It really helps you to learn much better. So just by printing that, yeah, you have all the countries here. So now actually the plan is to print countries containing, I mean, land, countries with land, for instance, Finland, Ireland, or some countries. I don't know how many countries. Let's collect them out. Great. 4 countries. For country in countries. Then you just print the country. I'm not going to print this out because it's long. Now, as you can see, I'm actually printing all out. But the plan is actually if land in country, print the country, not all, only. Oh no, please don't do a typo. Yes. Oh yeah, it seems we're approaching New Zealand, Poland, Solomon Island. But where's Finland? Oh yeah, Finland, Iceland, Ireland, Marshall Islands, Netherlands. See, as you can see, these are the countries with land. The rest of the countries are without land. Surprising. Okay, but if I ask you, hey guys, count the number of countries with land, then what you should do, you can do different techniques. One, by creating a new list, maybe new country list, and then you just create an empty list. Have you seen this? And then you just append it to new country list, append this the country. Yep. And then you don't have to print here. Instead, print new country list here. And now we make it a very beautiful list. Have you seen this beautiful list? Yes. So to know the lengths, we can say print length new country list. Oh, 11 countries. Yep. So if land in country. So because how did this work? Let me show you. Let's write the language Python. Print if there's O in language. What do you think? Is it going to be true, this statement? or false?
True.
True, because we have O there. So let's see. It's true. How about if I make it capital?
False.
False. How about instead if I make it own?
True.
True. So that means we can check substring if some substring exists in another string. So we can. So what I did actually, hey country, do you have land? So this expression true. If this expression is true, the code will be executed. If not, just it will not. So actually we are just filtering only the countries containing land. This is one use case too. How about if countries containing AI? For instance, it says like Eritrea, Ethiopia, some countries, and like that. Let me just show you. Ethiopia, China, no. But there are many countries ending like with A. Let's try just by changing this A and see how many countries can we get there. As you can see, there are many countries. So yeah, Albania, Algeria, Armenia, Australia, Austria, Bolivia, Bosnia, whatever, and Bulgaria. I'm not going nuts counting all this. Okay, they are quite a lot. And how many? 39 countries. So actually, I'm just checking the substring if it exists in the country string, and then collected them. Where? Here, because I have a bucket. I have a bucket, my list here. Great. Any question if you have any?
So if you have this if, and if it's not true, I guess if you would put else, then else and then pass, would that basically, so it's some kind of encoded to the Python that you don't have to include that, I mean, else and then pass.
Okay. You have if condition. For instance, in this case, I don't need the else, okay? Because it is useless here for this case. But there might be another cases you may use else. For instance, I can count the rest. I can call new countries with land. Nice. Countries without land. Sorry, every country has a land, but you know, in this Python lesson, some countries do not have land. I hope you understand that. And then actually I change this to and then countries without land append. Yes, now as you can see, I am also concerned about the countries with land and without land. Now I make use of the else. Have you seen? Because I'm concerned, I don't like, I want to also separately collect countries without land. Maybe you want to screen them out. Or maybe you can also go countries with ending like something. So you can do, it's not only else, you can also add and this the else if, the elif condition here, if you have some other criteria. Yeah, good. So now if you want to see print countries without land, we will have the same thing. Yeah, as you can see, it starts from Finland and it ends Thailand. And the rest of the countries will be here, most of the countries. And even here, I can say, for instance, L if okay, way in country. There's one country. There's the only country which has a way. So I can also countries with way. Okay, so I can countries dot append. If there's more countries now, Norway, you know, right? You know, so everybody knows Norway. And so let's see if we manage to capture Norway. If there are other countries also, that would be good. Let's see. Have you seen I captured Norway? So have you seen I have, it's not only if, now I am also adding different conditions. So you can formulate your
I have a question.
yes.
Can you have like double criteria there? Like if the country has land and also I, for example, if it has the both criteria at the same time.
Bold?
Both criteria, two criteria.
Yes, you can have. For instance, now I am interested in, let's see, have you seen these countries? Finland, Iceland, Ireland, Marshall Island. These countries, they do have two words, right? I'm like creating criteria. I'm not interested in New Zealand or Solomon Island, but I'm interested only this. Who could help me to put that logic here? Okay, I have something in mind. I can say and country. I can split that. So I can country dot split at the space and but okay, I can yeah, and it should be okay, can try this. Lengths. Okay, first I can see it, what's happening there, guys. It's the easy way to do, because now we're about to put different logic. Let's print country dot split at space. Let's see what we get. Oh yeah, it looks beautiful, right? So these guys do have two items, but the rest they don't have. So what I can do, I can count this. And undo. No, please do whatever. I don't need this part. What? Where am I? I think I just wrote many parts of the code. Yes, here. Length is equal to only two, only one. Because as you can see, this is one, but these guys are two, so I don't need them. So now if I write, I managed to just collect countries with just one word, but countries, them like, I hope you understood what I meant. Yeah? Yarmo, did you understand?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Yep. So you can add, it's not only one logic. Of course, you just asked me, And the reason why I also showed you use cases. I could have just tell you yes, but I have to also show you the use case. So now we used to print like this, but now we're interested like a country with only one word, Finland, Swaziland. Okay, okay, guys, now it just seems a time for functions. Oh yeah, functions.py. I'm super excited just to teach functions. What is function? And actually at the very beginning, we learned about functions, and maybe you are very familiar with built-in functions. And now we're about to talk about custom functions. So, but I think it's good to explain or describe what is function. Please tell me in your own word, what's a function?
It is a set of instructions to accomplish specific task.
It is a set of or a collection of codes that can perform some most of the time, a single task. It would be nice. Sometimes we write a function which can solve lots of tasks. It's not good function if you write that way. So try to make a function that can solve only one problem. Don't try to solve lots of problems with one function. Yeah, it might be hard to understand what I said now, but slowly at some point it may make sense. But remember, I said it. Again, I have to repeat again. And it's good to write. It is better to make a function that solve or perform that solve one problem. What does that mean? For instance, your function might add two numbers. So the purpose of that function is actually only to add two numbers. In that case, it will be easy to reuse that function, easy to test that function if it works according to what we want. Yeah. So maybe just to remind you, a function is just a collection of codes that can perform a single task or task. So how do we define or declare a function? Name of a function and then parentheses, and this is what you need to write a function. Console print I am a proud function. Yes. So have you seen? You need the def keyword followed by name of the function. The name of the function could be anything, but the way you declare it will be the same as the way you declare variable names. Okay, variable names. And then you need parentheses now. If you remember the built-in functions like sum, yeah, win, or maybe lane, the built-in, do you remember? Even the print function, these are built-in functions. But now we are about to create our own function, custom function. Yeah, and we can list lots of built-in functions and input, the famous input, enter something, just to get some data from the user. Yeah, okay, we can keep them there, but now let's come to, if I run this file, let me run this file. As you can see, nothing happened. Nothing. Okay, why? Because I have to call this function. Have you seen this? Whenever we call a function, we call it by the name. What is the name of this function? Tell me the name of that function.
The name of function and parenthesis. Yeah.
Yeah, the name of the function is actually itself name of the function. Yes. Now, I am a proud function. My name can be changed. My name can be changed. Oh yeah, just change it here. My name can be changed. So this is the name of the function. And this is, as you can see, I am a proud function. Oh yeah, maybe we can also call it do something. Do something. And I am just call it do something. Of course, I am teaching or I'm just doing something. I am doing. Yes, let's do if it says I am doing something. So you guys managed to write your first function and the name of the function is do something. I know you are doing something right now. Okay, great. Now, what's the purpose of this function? To print this value. It doesn't have any other value. Let's also do another function, but actually printing is not a very good idea. You know, if you just print something, you are not storing. So instead, let's return this value. Return. So now I came up with this return new, a reserved word which allow us to store this value. So if I do this, nothing happened. So I have to print this, okay? Print the do something function. Now the do something function will print this out, okay? I'm doing something. I'm doing something. Great, now you learn return. Return is very important. If you don't return something from your function, the value will be null. Let me show you what it will happen. Maybe I can use just the pass for the time being. I told you pass is a way to just make your code work. So like now, if you see none, from a function, that means that function doesn't return anything. Great, this is a very important concept, guys. If a function doesn't return any data type, the value is none. None is also, it's a kind of data type. In JavaScript, we call it a null or maybe undefined, but in here, it is none. So when it comes to programming, it's all about data types. We store data types and we return data types from functions. So what kind of data type is this returning? What kind of data type is this function returning, guys? Yes, it is returning actually a string. So as you can see that. Great, now let us do another beautiful function. Dave, add two nums or numbers. So, and as you can see, most of the time, the name of the function actually, it has a kind of action, yeah? It's like add, so you can see an action, so add something. So let us add numbers. The numbers a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 3 and c is equal to a plus b, and then print c. Okay, maybe then add numbers. What's the value of this function now? What do I get from this? You have 5, 3, and then the result. 8 is stored here and you are printing 8. 8. But such kind of function is really, actually, it's a boring function because it doesn't take any parameter. So instead, A, B. So we don't need something like this. So we are getting A and B from the function as in a parameter, and the user pass it as in an argument here, and it will be returned. Now instead I can say 3 and 5, and I can get 8. You can change the value many times, and then maybe 3 and 3, and maybe if someone have a hard time to add numbers, I think 1 and 1 will be so easy. It's 2. Oh yes, 8, 6, 2. Yeah, but as I told you, you have to return instead of printing from there, return C. And now we have to print it, all of them. If you didn't understand the purpose of the print, sometimes the print doesn't sync right away. I may explain it in a different way. This is a beautiful function. Okay, no one say anything. Now I will give you 2 minutes to find the, to create a function called calculate weight, the name of the function. And so it may take a parameter, mass and gravity, and it calculates the weight of the object. And weight is actually mass times gravity. So create the function and check. So you can check the value of the gravity, maybe 9.8 or 10 whatsoever. So yeah, I will give you some time to think. Okay, it might not be enough time, but I'll just help you here. So I gave you the name of the function here. You don't have to think much. So def, and you just copy this, or you just try to calculate weight, and then you need the parentheses, and I told you take mass as in a parameter and gravity, and then you need this. And then actually I gave you here a formula, and you just copy this, or you just write it. Weight is equal to the mass times gravity. And then you return the weight. That's so easy, right? So now let's calculate print. Calculate the weight of Asabene. I think he's about 75 kilogram. I think he's okay. And gravity, oh, because we're on planet Earth, 9.81. something like that. Someone is opposing this number because of the polarity. I don't know at what point this could be. There's some minor difference, but we don't really care for that. So as you can see, we have 735.5 Newton. So if you wanted to, just you can write it. Or can we store actually this value? Yes, you can store this value like this. Again, weight. You can, this weight and this weight, they don't see each other because this one is inside the function and this is outside. You use the calculate weight function and you calculated it and then you stored it here. And then actually f the weight of the person or the object is, and then you can use this string interpolation weight. And it's in Newton, right? So let's see, 735 points. Yes, and let's round. We have this the round built-in function. Everybody is familiar, so it will make it 2 or without. If you want some significant digit, so I want to have 1 significant digit, so it will be round to 1 significant digit. Yes, great. Another function, okay, but let me tell you guys that we can actually give a default value. What does that default value? Most of you guys live on planet Earth. You don't move on to other planets. So we can just give this a default value. So I don't have to pass an argument. So the default value will be calculated. But in case if I move on to other planet, so I can calculate this with a different value. That is actually the planet moon. I mean, I don't know if planets like whatever. Gravity of moon 1.62. Let's put it there. 1.62. And now let's see. Yeah, as you can see, 121.5 Newton. So this person or object is much lighter than on planet Earth. Great. So the next question will be, I want you to create a function. The name of the function will be, where was it? List revision or loops. Yeah, we got the loops. And I want you to change this to a function. Let's change this to a function. So calculate sum of all numbers. Yeah, so it's easy because as you can see, if you change it to a function, it will be reusable. Okay, how do we? Def calculate, or which sum all numbers, sum all nums. Good. And I give it n from 0 to n. Okay, let me check. So I don't have to rewrite all over again. I can use the code I created some time ago, copy and paste. If you did understand before, now it is easy and I don't have to also explain, but I need this part only. Then I will put it here. Please. Indentation is very important, so yep, now sum of all 0, and instead of this, now I'm not just giving it a fixed value. Instead, I take the parameter and plus 1 because this range doesn't include the last value. Okay, then return. What am I going to return? Return the sum of all nums, sum of all. or maybe I think, yeah, this maybe total. I can just call it total because it's very confusing. Total, yeah. Yes, now let us see. Print sum of all nums. I want to just trick you here. What is the sum of all numbers from 0 to 3? Because usually starting from very small is actually easy to understand. Tell me, guys, everybody knows. The sum of all numbers from 0 to 3. Okay, let me show you then. 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 and is equal to, I think it's 6. According to my calculation, 6. But let's also check what our function give us. Yeah, 6. Okay, the good thing is actually you can now check anything. For instance, if you want to know the number or the sum of all numbers from 0 to 1000, you just run. That's the power of a code. Once you write it, then it can do almost anything for you. Do you agree with this function? Do you have any doubt? And it's so clean. You can reuse, you make it once and then you call it. Maybe if you want to know the sum of numbers from up to 25 even. Yeah, yeah, yes. Now let's change this to sum of evens. Sum all evens, I call it. And this will remain the same, but I change it from 0 and in the increment will be 2. Yes, this is actually it does. So print sum all evens and I will pass a value. If you remember the 100, let's see how much we get. Yeah, 2550. It's working. Now let's change this to sum of odds. Now I'm just showing you how you can structure your codes into functions. Sum of odds. And then this will remain the same, but we will start from 1. And the reason why we have this total, because it's a function and the variables do not see each other because they are scoped, they are local scope. Yeah, maybe you don't know what is that local scope. It doesn't go out from the function, yeah? The value remain there. So you just get the value of this when we call the function. So let's do print sum of all odds. Great, and let's see by doing this because you guys calculated this one. I think it's I forgot, but we can get it 2500. Great. And now I will ask you to do, maybe even at the same time, I will give you a break. And but I think it's not a good idea giving you a task and giving you a break at the same time. It doesn't make sense, but we may work on together, but I don't know. So the function is actually, I gave you here already. Where was it? Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's just, the function was, yeah, list this. Yeah, this one, if you remember. Yeah, you can use that. And the name of create a function called generate user ID. Yeah, I think I wrote it somewhere there, so I have to copy and bring that. Um, yes, yep, there's one. I remember things. So I want you to develop a simple script that generates a unique user ID. Yes, so the name of the function will be create a function called generate user ID. So whenever you start solving the problem, read, and you make lots of problems on 30 days of Python here. So maybe if you go all the way down, this is okay. We are solving them. Functions, and then you may get a couple of them. Yeah, go to the data folder and access the countries data. Yes, and events and oats. I solved it here already. So potato, tomato, mango, milk, food stuff. Declare a function name, add item. It takes a list and an item. It's good to check this after the lesson, but maybe we can do this together. Okay, so def generate user ID. Does it take? Yes, it doesn't take, for the time being, it doesn't take anything. Do you remember how to generate a random number? Actually, I didn't teach you how to generate a random number. In Python also, you know this, the built-in functions, right? Like for instance, some prints, but sometimes we can also import modules, and we have this, the math module. The math module has a different, what is this? The math module has different methods. Random, and I can just, you can, and then just to get, for the time being, let's comment out and work on this, the math. What does this has actually? To know what it has, just print it. Print dir math. Do you remember? We've been using dir to know what method some object has. So now let's print this out. If you see this, the math module actually has something you can you do with cosine, like trigonometry, and logarithm, natural logarithm, and also radians, as you can see, power, pi, even the value of pi, square root. Yeah, for instance, I may show you, print 2. What is this? 4, right? To the power of 2. That's so easy. But how do you find square root of 2? So you can say math.square root of 2. That it gives us about 1.4 something. Yeah, 1.4. But of course, actually, you can use, if you're like in mathematics, square root means you can use it differently. To the power of 0.5 or 1 over 2 is the same as square root, right? And we should get the same value, as you can see. But we can also get from math.py. Actually, that's also the pi. As you can see, 3 points. So we can get, do we have random here to generate a random value? No, actually, I think the random is from just random. Import random. Yeah. So there is a module random, so we can use this random to generate random things. Then print random dot rand int. Okay, let's see. Okay, 0, 10. This means rand int means, and it takes a value, the starting and end. Actually, it prints 0 to 10, and it doesn't include the last. Are you see? So it, or maybe you just create another print random dot random. This value, it just create a floating number from 0 to 0.99. If you see this, so maybe I can. So how can we generate? Yeah, how can we generate from this? Okay, random 24-digit unique ID. Okay. Can we get one value from this? Like, for instance, print text. If I just say 0, which value do I get? Oh, guys, are you with me? I can take this. I can take this down maybe, and you can see it. What value do I get with this? A, right? Yeah, guys, A. How about if this is maybe 3?
D.
D, 0, 1, 2, 3, D. So instead of manually giving this value, let's generate this number from random. So we can use this one or this one. If we use this, let's do something. So I can put index. I can just store it an index. What is the last value? How do I know the last value? Someone told me that it's 62, right? Yes, actually it's 62. So it doesn't include the last value. So you can just put it 62. But usually when you do some kind of like manual, it's not a very good idea. So put it length is equal to len text. And then I can replace the 62 by length. Definitely this can't be larger than 62, and you can just put 62, but sometimes for other problem, it's not a good idea to give a fixed value, okay? Now, instead of just this, let's try just index and write it, run this a couple of times. Oh, the value was 1. Now it's M. Now it is 3. Okay.
Sorry, Asabene, shouldn't the length be length plus 1?
Okay, no, it shouldn't. But the reason why it should, because this one even should be length minus 1, right? Length minus 1, this one, this.
Yes, but if you take the length of the text string, so that will count the sum of the numbers, right?
Yeah, everything, yeah.
And if you put it in the range, doesn't the length have exactly the same amount of you have characters in the text, but that would leave the Z, the capitalized or the uppercase Z away?
No, because for instance, we have totally 62 and we find Z at 61 because we start from 0. Yeah?
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, thanks.
And it is not range also. The rand int is not a range, but it may, and it doesn't include the last value. That's why even if it was including the last value, actually, I should say instead -1 instead of plus. Okay, great. Now, as you can see, it is producing some values. Okay, so, but now we are not collecting them. How about if I create ID and empty, because I don't have, and I want to do this a couple of times. For I in range, I want you to go at least like 3 times, and then I want to repeat that. Yes, instead of also printing actually, hey ID, I want you to be concatenated every time. How do I concatenate? This value, the value I'm getting. And then now I want to print my ID here, and I call it ID. I will slow down. Now, RR, it sounds somehow wrong. Okay, maybe we have to think differently. As you can see, we repeat the R how many times? Just 3 times. The reason why this should be, the index should be here. Every time we should create a new index. And now I may get a different value. VFE. Maybe at some point I may ask you to create a function that generate a Finnish registration plate, car registration plate, something which has, and then a hyphen, some number. Yeah, okay. So if you understand the question, even you can try it by yourself. But now let's come back. Let's try this function again. Now, oh, we generate this. Now we generate this. Great. So it starts generating now 05S. How about if I just take this up to 24? 24 means it just create actually up to. Oh yeah, this is what we were looking for, guys. Oh yeah. Then instead of just doing it like this, I can change this to a function def calculate or generate user, what was the name? Whatever. User ID. And then you can put all your code inside your function because it will allow you to create it. And then you have to do the indentation. And now you should return. What should I return from here? Tell me. What is the main purpose?
To return the ID.
Yes, return the ID. And now let's try and print generate ID. How many times? For all of you guys, I can generate. Okay, let's try with 3. Yeah. Yes. What? Because I forgot to call it, invoke it using the parentheses, and then I got the function object. What's happening here? So whenever you get something like this, string index out of range, even actually for some reason, maybe I think I forgot that. I thought this doesn't include the last value, but actually it includes the last value. Sorry for that. So I have to do this -1. Yeah. After this, well, it will work. Have you seen now? Yes. Yeah, we managed to generate different IDs. So this is unique. So why we need it to be 24 hour, 24 characters, because, you may have an application that have millions of users. So the ID should be large. So now instead of restricting the users to just generate only this or the application, actually we can customize it by ourselves. We can pass a value, number of, by default, let's just generate 6. So 6, so where is it? Then actually 6 from 0, n, as you can see now, it starts from 0 to n, that means 6. By default, it generates 6. Let me show you. By default, 6. But now, if I want this one to generate 100 characters, it will generate, yes. Now, my function is robust. If the user just want only just to use the default, it just generate only 6, 6. But if they want to generate 50 or whatever length, it generate for them. I think this is good enough, and another time for a break. Before that, if you have any question, let me know. Okay, so another 10 minutes break. Welcome back, everybody. So we covered functions somehow, and this needs a repetition for sure. You have to repeat this lesson again. I believe so, because there's lots of material, and after this session it's not going to be any more some kind of basic. I will teach you proper problem solving, and there's nothing we call it basic, because in the previous group after the 6 or something, oh no, this is advanced or something. Of course it's not, it's advanced. After the 4th session it's going to be advanced. It's not anymore basic. What I want you to do, guys, the best solution, the best remedy, 30 days of Python. It's much better than my teaching. Yes, it is. So everything is documented. What you don't hear is my voice on these 30 days of Python. But the rest is there. What you get here, the motivation, and also some of the discussions are not on the repo on 30 days of Python. But most of the things and the explanations are really here. So I want you just to go step by step, repeat everything as if you don't know it at all, and it really helps you quite a lot. Okay, I want to ask, how far are you guys on 30 days of Python? How far are you?
Not far, but the question is how long these materials are available for us?
Forever.
Forever. Okay, good.
Yes. Okay. Khalida said she's at day 10. That is good. That's very good. So how was your experience up to day 10? How was it? I really want to hear your experience.
Yeah, to me it was really, really excellent material to learn step by step. Since I didn't have any experience of Python, so I started from the very beginning, and it helped me a lot to learn systematically.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's really good material to learn.
yeah. Okay, thank you. So, yeah. Is there anyone who wants to talk? Yeah. I usually tell, I think, the same thing. So I recommend you to go to the material. I don't like to just tell you a false story and just motivate you for nothing. Programming is not just a kind of sprint, or there's no kind of shortcut to learn programming. No, there's no. It's like learning a Finnish language. To speak a Finnish language, you have to really spend enough amount of time. You have to practice it. You have to do it on daily basis, almost like that. Of course, Finnish is not different from other language, even the English language. So it's the same as human language. You should do it often. If it's not always, at least as frequent as possible. Then you will start thinking in certain programming language, thinking as a programmer, thinking as a developer. Now, it's really good also. My background was completely different. I studied my bachelor food technology, my master food technology, and I studied again a completely different field, information technology, and my thinking is completely different from I used to. So there's a shift in thinking also. If you are from a different background, don't really trapped by these beliefs that drag you back. Your background doesn't really matter. If your background is psychology or sociology or account or international business whatsoever, programming is not only for people, for some specific people. It's for everybody. If you speak a certain language, if you speak your mother tongue, you can speak Python or JavaScript or Java. Yes, but it needs repetition. And our lesson, what is this? The Omnia training. It's short, and I don't promise you to finish everything here. And I go fast, Today, for instance, we are here, and maybe the next week we may cover a couple of 3 or 4 of this, and that's quite a lot of information. Why we do that? Because when you finish the training, you have a very good, solid understanding of the programming language. So what you can help me? Revise by yourself. Spend time after the lesson. Yes.
Can I ask something from the import function? So where does that actually import the math and random and whatever? I mean.
Yes, that's good. That's a very good question. We installed already the Python to our computer, right? So since you have Python, for instance, when you write CMD, if you write Python, now you start accessing Python. Yeah? Is it? Then if you say print, actually now understand what you are trying to do. Hello, Yarmo or something. Yeah. And then again, I may say, import the mat. No, I don't like to do anything, but give me the mat object. Then I imported it. After this, I can say mat.py, mat.e. I think that we have also e. Yeah, mat.taulu. Yeah, so they are there. So mat.square root of 2. So I have NumPy, for instance, import NumPy. I think I installed it. Yes. With some, for instance, NumPy dot mean of. Actually, NumPy is a mathematical a mathematical or a numerical package which allows you to do numerical calculation, mean, median, or those. But maybe like, for instance, I have data of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This doesn't make sense. Let's take the data of my students. Some of you are 20, some of you are 90, some of you might be 35, some of you might be 25 or 28. It doesn't matter. 30, 40, 22, and 30 again, and 19, 15, and 17, and 19 again. So imagine this is the age of my students, yeah, data. Yeah, I can import the statistics module, statistics. I imported it. Then I can say statistics, wait, and dot mean of the data. As you can see, the mean is actually this. And then maybe I can go the median, if you know, guys, median. As you can see, the median is this. And maybe the standard deviation, STD. Now I think I made a mistake. STDV. Okay, then what I should do, dir statistics, because I forgot the how STDV, it was like this. Then let me can do Dave standard, the division and data. So it gives you. So there are already built-in packages. Those packages have different modules, like, for instance, or methods, you may call them, the mean, the median, the standard deviation. Even it has other methods which we may use for different purposes. So Python knows it, okay? Python knows it by default.
So are these in your computer already?
It is in the computer because since you install Python, so it knows it. So it's in the computer. We are not importing it from anywhere.
Okay, so is there any simple explanation that why aren't these as a, you know, like a built-in functions already in Python? What is there a reason why you need to separately import those?
Yes, okay, that's a very good one. If you remember, for instance, we have the built-in function sum, and you know the purpose, right? Yeah. You know the purpose of len. These are built-in functions. But you know, there are lots of mathematical methods, so it's better to put them together instead of putting them separately. So I can access all of them from this one. So instead, so this is an easy way of, by the way, if you say a different way of, like, let me show you another way of writing. I will show you. Import, you can also import it as it's, so have you seen this VS Code is so smart. When I'm writing it here, it's taking it to the top. Yeah, so, okay, let's put it there. Another way of importing from math, import only pi. Have you seen now? Actually, now I'm importing only pi, or maybe square root, or maybe another, we may tau root, and maybe this also. So if you print now pi, you don't have to write math.pi because pi is explicitly now imported. So the reason why, because we want to actually put some methods that have similar function in one module. So all the mathematical methods are here. So it's a good way of organizing. So now if I do this print, I should get pi at the value of pi at the bottom. There is something. I don't need this. Yeah. And name match is not defined because after some point, you can't access mat here. You can, let's just now comment out. Yes, it should be somewhere at the top, as you can see, pi. Yeah, oh, or instead, even if you don't like to print something like this, from mat import actually star. That means you are importing everything. Now let's again do, what is that? Yeah, as how do we do import? No, I forgot. From mat import all. Okay. I can do importing all modules from Python. From Fibo import this. So it should work for me too. From mat import what does it say? Let's read. Should work. Import from mat import. Okay, now pi. Have you seen? Now it's working here on my tau, for instance, tau. A, it's working. Square root of 2. So now these are actually acting like a function, a built-in function, but they were imported from the mat. So this means import everything. I don't know why it didn't work here. Did it work already? Or yeah, I think it's working. Now I'm seeing. I see just the previous. Yeah, I think it's working already.
How about just import star?
Yeah, it's working. Yeah.
Not from mat, but if you put import star, so it imports all the.
Import the star like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that is, it shouldn't work because you don't do that, but I think it's a very good, oh, I mean, thinking, but it doesn't work that way, as you can see. Maybe it's the indentation. Let's remove the indentation. As you can see, it didn't work. And I have to remove this one also. Yeah, because it shouldn't be loose like this, because whenever we say from mat package, import all of the modules, or maybe one of them, like this. Or if you don't like pi, for instance, as in pi, you can say it pi, maybe pi. So you can even give it a different name, as in import pi and call it pi, like this, pi. So we will learn import next week properly. but don't worry about that. Okay, so I hope you got it. So let's move on to set. Great. Sets.py. So far what we saw numbers, we saw strings, we saw booleans, and we saw list. Now we are about to see set, tuple, and the dictionary. First, let's talk about set. Actually, this is how we declare a set. This is an empty set. Set is a collection of things, okay, or data, but they don't have ordered. They don't have order, so it's just. Then you may say just print set. If you check the set, sorry, the set, it's empty set. We can also create a set like this with a value set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many elements do you see in this set? 5. Print set, and you may see them printed out here. Printed out here, and you may also check the size. Print set size, actually length. It's okay to just, you can just call this nums as the way we used to do, or nums and yes. Can we access the value using index? No, we don't do that. Okay, so can we loop through? Can we iterate? Yes, we can iterate for num in nums print num. So we can iterate the value, as you can see. Can we add a value to this? Yes, there's a method nums dot add, and then we can add, for instance, 6 and print nums. As you can see, 6 is added. I don't remember all the methods of the set, so let's go here and even make it a bit faster, because now we learn how to create an empty set and set having some elements. We have here bananas. Oh yeah, that's good. And then the lengths, to get the lengths, you just use this one. We saw it. The lengths of this, I think we have four fruits. Accessing the items. How do we access the items in the set? I think, as you can see here, we just use loop. We don't use index. Maybe also what you should know, this the in operator, membership operator. Do we have 7 here? Let's check. If maybe print 7 in nums. What do you think? Do we have it? No, we don't have it. So this will be false. As you can see, false. Do we have 0? It should be also false because we don't have it. But if I say 1, we have 1 here. So we can also, the membership operator for to check if some number or some item exists in the set. And then we saw how to add items using the add item. Like this, for instance, we have banana, orange, mango, and lemon. We added lime. So lime will be added at the end. Okay, then actually, we can update our list. So if we want to add many items, we use update. Okay, let me show you. I added just only one item using add. How about if I want to add many items? I can use nums.update, and it should be arrays. So I can say 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, if I print out the nums, my nums is a bit bigger, as you can see. So such kind of methods, you just learn by repetition, and when you work on the exercise, you will manage to remember them. Example, you can also not only, actually, you can also add the tuples here. We have here tuples. We didn't learn tuples yet, but the tuples can be also added. What does that mean, the tuple? If you have such kind of a bracket, it's going to be a tuple. So let's see if it's going to be added. Yes. So it should be either a list or a tuple, a removing item from a set. So you can call remove and the items, the name of the item. Yeah, so for instance, if you say remove and 4, you remove 4. Or maybe here you may say remove fruits.remove banana. Banana will be, I can show you by copying this. This looks a very good. Yes, so let's remove maybe banana. Not banana, maybe mango better. If we are, then let's see what. So I have to print out here. Print fruits. Now our fruits should be without mango, as you can see. Maybe then how do we use pop? Pop actually removes the last element. Yeah, pop. So you don't have to pass argument, just pop out. So now lemon should be removed. Yes, as you can. Huh? Okay, let's see. Why? Yes, that is actually, this has to be updated. Removing item from a set. We can remove an item from a set using remove method. If the method is not found, if the item is not found, remove method will raise an error. So as you can see, if we don't have the item, something I didn't show you before, I will come to the pop, remove, and we don't have here avocado. This crashed our code. Yeah, it crashed, as you can see, because avocado is not there. To do so, first you have to if avocado in fruits, then do this operation. Let me remove this one. Yeah, this one, because first you are checking, no? So it's okay. So remove, if the item is not in the list, it raises an error, so you should really check it. But now actually the thing we've been trying to do is just using pop. Pop actually removes any item, fruits.pop, and let's see now, because mango, yeah. So it just remove randomly one item. It's not from even the last. So this is not also the best way to use it for a list, for a set, as you can see. Now it removes banana. Now it removes actually mango. Yeah. So because this doesn't have any set, doesn't have any order, so I have to update this, remove the last element from the set. It's not the last element. It just remove an arbitrary one item. Okay, clearing item in a set. So if we want to clear, I mean,
I have a question.
yes.
When we add multiple items in the set,
Yeah.
Is there any order of adding, like when we add string?
Yeah, set doesn't allow duplicate items. So for instance, if you have now, let me show you here 5, and here maybe again 4, and again 1. How many of the items are repeated? 1 is repeated 2 times, and 5 repeated 2 times, 4 repeated maybe 4 times. But if you check the length, let's check the lengths. Why? I forgot. If you check the links, because we are not checking links here. Let's try it. Check length. No, I don't see. Check 5. It remains 5. Why? And if you see also the printed out, all the repeated items have been removed. So it doesn't allow repetition. It just store only unique items. Even though you write it like this, it doesn't store it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
So even the main purpose of a set, the reason why we need set, it allows us to remove duplicate items. Maybe let's, in Python, it's used to store unique items, and it's possible to find, yeah, but union intersection difference. If you remember in elementary school, the union of set, the intersection, the difference, symmetric difference, subset, a super subset, and a disjoint set, all this kind of. Let's go, then we're clearing, we've been clearing, okay? We clear, that means making them empty. So if you clear a set, it will be empty. Deleting, if you delete, actually you are destroying it, so you can use the del operators. It's not a common thing to do, but just you can clear, but if it's needed, you can also delete it. Converting list to set. Have you seen we have a list, and then if you put it to a list, you may, for instance, this is really very important. Why very important? I may ask you at some point, do you know this? This is 30 days of Python. And I may ask you to come here, countries data.json, and I may ask you what are the 10 most spoken languages. The 10 most spoken languages. I made it already at some point. I can show you. So you need that. But you can come here and check the solutions. Countries. So if you see the 10 most spoken language in the world, the English language actually is spoken in 91 countries. Next, the French language is spoken in 45 countries. So I want you to come up with this solution from this object. Yeah, you may not do now, but yeah, after this lesson, you should be able to get this. So it will be a dictionary, key value, key value. We were. So yes, this help you. The set will help you. How does it help you? Let me show you. I think I am puzzled where I think it should be in here. For instance, we have here banana, orange, mango, lemon, orange, banana. So how many times do we have orange? 2 times, and lemon once, but banana 2 times. But the set, as you can see, it remove the repetition. So, for instance, okay, in England, it's English. You count the number of times you may find the English language in different language. So you have to come up with how many times that language. For instance, where this country, yeah, it's English is also spoken in this country. Yeah, it's everywhere, as you can see. So it actually helps you to joining sets. As you can see, we can make union. So set 1 union set 2. So we get union. The intersection also can be found using intersection, the intersection of this. For instance, the intersection will be 2. We have item 3 and item 2, item 3 and item. But union, as you can see, the union of these fruits, we have vegetables, fruit, vegetables. So the union will be fruits and vegetables. We should have everything what we have here and here. That's union. Then check subset and super subset if you want, and also check the difference between two sets. That we call it a symmetric difference, or this difference. That means A without B or B without A in mathematics. And you don't really have to know all this. You don't have to, but if you want, it's straightforward. You can just go through this short reading and then just try to also solve these questions. Okay, that is all about set. What's the tuple? Then let's talk about tuples. It's somehow similar. A tuple is a collection of different data types which is ordered, but set is not ordered, and unchangeable, immutable. Once if you create a tuple, it will be like that. You can't add value to a tuple. What does that mean? For instance, I have created 3 items, right, like this, but the way we create also a tuple, as you can see, it's different. This is parentheses, but when it's set, it's curly bracket. So once if you create 3 items, it will be 3 all the time. For instance, we have 4 items, it will be 4 all the time. We can't add item. We can check the length, and we can also access the values using index because it's an ordered collection. And we can use also loop to iterate through. We can slice it like a list. It's similar to list. We can use also negative index, like from the negative side. Changing to list. Of course, if you just pass anything to a list, it will be a list, as you can see. Checking an item in a list, in a tuple, it has to be corrected, this one. So as you can see, item in a tuple. Do we have item 2 in the tuple? Yes, we have. It's true. Okay, then joining to tuples. If you want to join to tuples, you just merge them like this. For instance, I have a fruit and a vegetable, fruit and vegetables. You do this and you get the union of this. Deleting a tuple, we can delete the tuple like this. The only operation we can do is just deleting, no other operation. There's no any method you can think and remember related to tuples. Why? Because we can't modify a tuple. I think this will be too much information already on top of loops, functions, tuples, and set. I can't teach you dictionary. So let's push this to next week. So what do you have to learn for next week? Yeah, please go and learn dictionaries, and then modules, a list comprehension, and higher order functions. Yeah. Please check. Again, I may repeat, dictionaries, modules, list comprehension, and higher order functions. At the same time, these are very short to cover in the session, but I think in the meantime we'll also solve some problems. Yeah, we should speed up a bit to work on problems also by the end. So repeat the video. That's what I would recommend to everyone.